gentleman who brought alongside his brains, and he is going to be the perfect garnish for the program this evening. Mr. Sinju Armstrong is a social and a political analyst. You're very much welcome, sir. It is a great delight to start the program with you.
Thank you very much, Madam Obeto. I'm very much happy to be here. Though I came, the weather in Boy is quite cool, and it's been threatening to rain. So, and that is why you see the way I appear this evening. It's not quite easy, but thank God I'm part of the programs today. And I just want to say that the topic today we are dealing with is very important. 2025 is fast approaching, and of course, we just want to let our viewers understand that matter is going to take a different twist now because a lot of things are happening, and given that matter is a political center program, and so we are going to be updating our televiewers on so many political happenings because a lot has been happening already. Yeah, so we are here to give our own contribution of what is trending and what is happening to see how we can move the country forward, because it has not been easy, but we just want to know that our contribution here to see how we can build the country. Yeah, so because a lot of things have been going on, so I'm very happy to be part of the platform today, and glad that as a topic unfolds, we're going to share our own ideas. Thank you.
Of course, a lot of people had forecasted what is happening now. I remember I've had a lot of political debates centering, the elections or the pre-elections fever. We know that 2025 is just somewhere lingering out around the corner, and a lot of people on this panel, especially those who have been calling, have been of the opinion that the incumbent is going to re-strategize and do something to maneuver the elections. Do you think this fulfills the prophecies that so many people had, foretold?
Yes, thank you very much. I think you are talking in respect to the bill that has been tabled at the National Assembly to extend the mandate of parliamentarians. We are talking of members of parliament and that of the upper house of assembly, which is the Senate. Yes,
and including municipal councillors.
Municipal councillor, yeah, that is true. So we had political analysts and even journalists had already forecast that we were going to experience something like this, where we are going to have the extension of mandates of these parliamentarians. So it was not. The news has come, so it is no longer a surprise because many people have already forecast, because that is the nature that we have with the current government. That it is not even the first time that we have had extension of the mandate of parliament. So over the past election year, we have already had a situation like this. But what really baffles us is the fact that we always have this each time where we have an election year of at least 4 elections. Because remember that in 2025, four elections have been previewed. We have the municipal, the legislative, regional council, and presidential election, which.
And this this time around it is a tripartite, a twin election.
Exactly, and in 2022 we expect to have the senatorial election. In 2027, I beg your pardon. Yeah. So we were taken aback. Not about taken aback. People, Cameroonians were taken aback to see that the bill has been tabled at the parliament, and we have seen government ministers, we have seen government officials, even coming out at the parliament to give reasons, or in different platforms to give reason why the mandate of members of parliament should be extended. Excuse me, right up to 2026. But of course, they are laying more emphasis on the fact that on the provision is section 15, paragraph 4 of the Constitution. Yeah, that is the basis which they are trying to lay emphasis why the mandate, or why they are proposing that the mandate should be extended. The government, which we know that section 15, paragraph 4 of our Constitution clearly states that where there is a crisis or needs warrant, the President of the Republic may, in consultation with the President of the Senate, the Bureau of the National Assembly, that of the Senate, the President of the Constituent Council, in connection with the President of the Senate and that of the National Assembly, to table a bill in Parliament for the extension of the mandate of the parliamentarians. So this is where they are laying emphasis, because many people are saying that, especially opposition party, they are saying that it's out of place. But whereas you see that the government is acting in place, is acting. That's what our constitution says. Article 15, paragraph 4. So, and many opposition party have come out to cry that no, it is out of place, out of law. But again, you cannot say it's out of law, because the bill is in line with what our constitution is saying.
And now, is there a crisis? By a crisis, was the constitution talking about a political chaos, a socio-economic fuse?
Yes.
Or
now,
what?
Good. You have asked a very important question. This is where we have to look at, because the section of that portion of our constitution, paragraph, section 50, paragraph 4, say where there is a crisis or it warrant. But now, when you look at it now, do we have a crisis?
Of course.
Yeah. Do we have a crisis at hand? What situation has warranted for the extension of now? We might look at a crisis on two folds here, Madam Moderator. We can check a crisis, a financial crisis. Yes, we can look at a financial crisis. We can look at a political or a social crisis, where in our country, where if we realize that a large portion of a country or region are undergoing serious political or social crisis, which it has posed insecurity, which it cannot permit election to take place. That is the first way. That is the first position we can look at. Then now we can also look at a financial crisis. I think, in my own understanding, this is where the government is talking about the crisis. The section of that we're talking at the crisis. It could be a political or social crisis. It could be a financial crisis. But now, when we look at the political and social crisis in our country, we have just, I think, the Norway, the Southwest, I think the three northern regions, the far north region, which for some years now
have been
facing political crisis, serious political crisis, which one might be tempted to think that it can pose a problem. But now, the outing of the Minister of Territorial Administration, remember that the Minister of Territorial Administration recently had the first biannual conference with regional governors. And from the report we had from there, as far as security situation, the crisis situation in the various regions, they shows that it has improved greatly. And other government ministers, other government officials to have come out to clearly indicate that the situation in the Northwest, the situation in the far north and east as well, there has been a marked increase as far as the security situation is concerned, which means that the report given, it shows that at least the situation is really improving. But of course, I agree with them, because since the onset of the crisis, we have had elections. In this crisis, you could think of the last presidential election, I think in 2019. We could think of the senatorial elections that took place. These regions have been under crisis. So at least we have election where the report shows that the election took place under a serene atmosphere. So I want to think that, as far as the crisis, looking at political and social crisis here, to me, in my own personal opinion, is not a major issue which can warrant the extension of the mandate of members of parliament based on Article 15 and paragraph 4, which says that in event of crisis. Now, when we look at the crisis from another part, which is the financial crisis, the Prime Minister recently held an urgent meeting, which we are all aware, with members of government ministers, to actually look at the possibility of the bill extending the mandate of these members of parliament. And of course, one thing that that came out from the meeting was the Prime Minister was categorically clear to say that following the current budget constraint of the state, you know, the state has been facing a lot of budget constraint. You remember few days ago when the National Assembly session started, the President had already sent an ordinary revisiting the budget of the state budget, showing that there was a constraint, and we saw that certain aspect of taxes, especially our national ID card, were modified. So there was a clear indication that the state is already facing a budgetary constraint in that aspect. So that's why the Prime Minister came out and said, no, the current budget constraint of the state, according to the Prime Minister, the state cannot be able to manage these 4 elections in 2025, following the current budget constraint in 2025. And the Prime Minister also mentioned that the reason of extension of the mandate is to lighten up the electoral calendar of 2025. You understand that when the work on the ELECAM in 2025 is going to be heavy to coordinate 4 elections in a year. So the reason given by the Prime Minister is that they want to lighten up the electoral calendar on 2025, giving so that we can have results that can be authentic.
Now, by that, what does it mean? Does it mean they want to go biometric system? Does it mean they want to computerize election, or they want to, you know, do a reformation in the electoral procedures? What does that mean?
None of the above. The reason which the Prime Minister advanced, like lighten up the electoral calendar, because there are 4 elections in 2025.
Of course.
Yeah, and the Prime Minister thinks that for the state to organize these 4 elections in a year, it requires finances, which the state is already facing a budgetary constraint. And secondly, the work for the electoral for election Cameroon might be too heavy. So that, you know, when you do so many things, when the workload is heavy on you, you know, the efficiency can be doubted. And so the state wants that they will not want to organize election where the work will be too, and because mind you, these elections, you see the municipal, the parliamentary, and the presidential, I think the regional council, as well.
Yeah, the regional council is
these
there.
These are elections.
Municipal, parliamentarian, presidential, and municipal councils.
Municipal council, especially presidential, parliamentary, and municipal. These are elections that are universal suffrage. What do I mean by that? Election that all Cameroonians have to partake in it. All Cameroonians have to partake in a part of the regional council where they are councillors now. So, and you know, Cameroonians to engage in these things. I'm just trying to put forward the reason why the Prime Minister was advancing where they were discussing. So, and for ELECAM to organize this election in a single year, they might be rushing, they might make a lot of mistakes, which might not reflect the result. Because it is but normal that when you have
when you say elections might make a lot of mistakes, it is the duration or the lapse between one election to the other. It is a lot of time. Like the regional elections, I think it's coming in December or so, in December 2025. That is next year. So there is, a vast time limit between the various elections. So don't you think it also gives ELECAM ample time to re-energize and reinforce itself, rearm itself?
Yeah, it's not quite a vast time, because if you look at the electoral calendar, it shows that municipal and parliamentary elections normally program on the 9th of February 2025. Then now when you look at regional council election, you will notice that it's on the 6th of December
2025.
Then when you look at presidential too,
it's on the
November.
7th of November.
Yeah, the 7th of October. Yes, I think October, according 2025. But now you see that it's not like 6 months, at least 1 or 2 months, which
It's still cumbersome.
Which is still cumbersome. But now, this is where I have a problem. After your analysis, this is where I have a problem. Now, I think for the state to think about budgetary constraint, this calendar did not just come out in 1 month time or 2 months time. These are calendar that was already drawn up, and we all, in fact, during the past election, municipal parliamentary election, regional council election, presidential election, we already know the terms of office of these persons that are occupying this position.
Yes.
And we knew where the next election was supposed to fall. I think our lawmakers, I think the government knew where.
So it was a calculative attempt.
So you understand. So I think talking about budgeting constraint, in drawing of the budget, this consideration was supposed to be taken into place already. That we were supposed to have election, because this the mandate of this the personality who are occupying this position is already fixed, and Cameroonians and the state know is already.
Okay, before I get into if this is going to be dragging voters' apathy, because this has already, been stirring a lot of dust underneath the waters, as many people foretold that there is going to be, a pulling of some negative strings prior to elections, are already, having their energy dwindled because of what is happening. But ladies and gentlemen, permit me at this juncture on the program to also introduce somebody whose voice actually matters on matter. And at this point, we are going to be bringing in somebody who is not just a social analyst, but likewise a political big weight. And he came alongside his brains on the program this evening, and his input is going to be relevant enough that we might be dragging from his world of knowledge. Mr. Musa Naibu is here with us. You're very much welcome.
Thank you, Mabel. It's a great opportunity being with you again. A great opportunity again sitting, discussing matters that matter in the country. It has been long that we have not been here in matters due to busy schedule. But anytime that we sit here, it's a great pleasure for us. So we are very happy. Thank you for inviting me, Mabel.
Thank you so much. Earlier when I called you and we discussed the topic that is going to be animating the political debate show this evening, you were one of the people who thought it was very timely that we bring it on matters. Now, there has been a lot of controversial voices that has been multiplying against, mandate extension, and we hear something like the economy is financially handicapped, and that is why they cannot have the quadruple elections that is supposed to hold. Did you foresee this, that it was going to be an extension of the mandate prior to elections? Or were you one of the people who clinged very highly to their hopes that elections were going to come 2025? Remember, the parliament has not adopted the bill. The draft bill has been submitted, but a lot of people are already, forecasting that it is going to be adopted. Now, were you one of those people who thought something was going to happen prior to elections?
Yes, Mabel, I think first of all, to organize for election in 1 year is not always easy for a country like Cameroon, and many African countries sometimes very challenging. I don't know why it is always coming where 4 elections have been organized in the same year. So I think that is a very big challenge for us. However, the economy of Cameroon too is not very good. All of us we know, and even the president himself mentioned it, and that's why he has added some tax in various items to meet up with the budgetary of the nation, and equally has removed subsidies on fuel and so on to cut expenditures for the state. So all of this is a big challenge for the country like Cameroon, and it is coming equally when we have a lot of countries suffering throughout the world due to certain wars that are happening. And honestly, it's not all in Cameroon, it's very challenging. For sure, we might not predict that it will just happen like that, but maybe perhaps the state feel that it's difficult for them, as the Prime Minister mentioned, that it is a uphill or uphill task for him to, or for the state to organize the full election. They are submitting a proposal after consultation with other bodies to see how they can delay the parliamentary election and the council, the regional council, I think so. Yeah, those are the two that they want to delay. However, the presidential election will take place. But however, we cannot say that the government does not have that power to extend the election of the parliamentarian. The government has, and it is permitted by law. However, the law mentioned that when there is crisis, and here the crisis, I think, is not clear which kind of crisis.
Yeah.
Is it economic crisis?
Is it financial?
Financial and so
Or
on and
political
so on.
crisis?
Or political crisis. We don't know that one, and I think the state should explain which kind of crisis and what is the gravity of that
Now,
crisis.
if you are saying that the state should explain, and we understand the various outings from the PM himself, John Gute, Chief Doctor John Gute, and the several meetings by the Minister of Territorial Administrations, and we get a lot of this on papers. Would you want to say there is some level or degree of obscurity if at this point they are whistleblowing on an extension and canvassing for an extension, but then it has not been stipulated which kind of crisis? Does it mean there is some degree of obscurity? Should the state be transparent in their outing?
Yes, I think that's what I mentioned, that it's good to know the kind of crisis and the gravity of crisis.
Okay.
Otherwise, people will interpret it differently. Of course, we have opposition parties that are equally willing to take part in the election, and many people are predicting that in 2025 election is a change for the country, and people are very anticipating. And you look at it, before even this happened, there are a lot of things that happen. Like, for example, you see ministers moving on TV and discouraging people from engaging or registering in election. They are saying that opposition members are forcing them to do that. So all of that, there are a lot of uncertainty, and which of course surround this before it is coming. However, as you mentioned, it's not yet adopted, but hopefully, CPD has a majority in parliament. Of course, it's obvious when they send a
Of
bill
course
like
it
that,
is, yeah.
it is obvious that they will extend the mandate. And equally, it is an advantage for some parliamentarians equally. And equally, it has advantage for some aspect. Like the ruling party too has an advantage extending that.
How so?
Well, when you look at it, first of all, there's always a constraint. When you don't have parliamentary election, when you are going in for presidential election, it becomes very challenging. And even if you are going, there are a lot of constraints on that. But you know that the CPD, they already have the majority of the parliament.
Of course.
And they are well comfortable with what they have, no matter the situation. So it's a kind of challenging issue which the Prime Minister raised. Of course, after maybe consulting the head of state, or is the head of state that raised it to the Prime Minister to make that meeting. We know that there's a lot of discussion going on that, and we are anticipating the 2025 election. So it's a crucial year, and the issue too is very crucial at this moment. And we have seen a lot of opposition MPs kicking against that and saying that they will vote against, which of course is a normal situation. However, the CPD has a majority, the bill must pass.
Okay, you were talking about the taxes which has been improved on some items, and subsidies which has been placed on fuel. Now, how can this help in a dispensation where we are battling and we are handicapped at the nick of elections, and because of crisis, and this time the crisis which is assumed to be financial crisis in the country? So how can this help? Now, the subsidies on fuels and improved taxes, do you think this can normalize those or the status quo for a bit?
At times it's always challenging because sometimes when the government go and remove subsidies for a particular good, they go and add their expenditures in other aspects. For example, that is what has happened in Cameroon. The head of state complained about the fuel and remove the subsidies or reduce it. And he went further to add the salaries of the teachers, government teachers. And it becomes very challenging because in the other hand you want to reduce to meet up with your expenditure. In the other hand you are adding your expenditure. It becomes very challenging to really judge. As I mentioned, it's not only in Cameroon, but Cameroon too has
it's noticeable.
Yes, and we have seen what increase in tax has done to other nations. Like for example, what is happening now in Kenya, where it's just an increase in tax and people went out to the street. And here in Cameroon, we see that it's a bit challenging. Of course, there are a lot of documents that the head of state has increased. For example, ID card now is costing almost 15,000 francs, which is something that with 5,000 francs
you could produce.
And even the passport and so on, there are a lot of things that has changed.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe to meet up, as he mentioned, for the economic challenge that the country has, but sometimes it's always very difficult to really judge the action of the government. And at times when we are not transparent enough to explain things clearly to the people, it becomes very challenging equally to justify some aspect. So it's a bit challenging, and we might not say that those increase in tax, removal of subsidies will take care of the election. A country like Cameroon to run 4 elections honestly is challenging, and that is why I'm sure that the mandate for the presidential election is 7 years, while other country is 4, some 5. The developed country, most of them is 4 or 5 years, because it's not easy to run the election. It requires a lot of logistics.
Okay, during your very early outings, you mentioned something that I want us to really highlight here. You said the economy is not very good. Does this go to justify? I don't know. I think it's a little bit very blurry for you as a political analyst to say that the economy is not very good in terms of what? In terms of it justifying why the government is putting, an extension or putting us on the pedestal of extension, or because of the socio-political views that the country has been going through. Now, you're saying the country is not very good. Can you just, bring light or shed light to that statement that you made?
Yes, I mentioned Cameroon is facing a lot of crises. First of all, the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest. It's not easy to sponsor that war that is going on. I call in the Fano region, the war with Boko Haram since 2014. The country is engaged in that. And equally in the eastern region, Cameroon has a lot of crises that are going on, and many of these crises they require a lot of budget to sponsor. So that might contribute to the aspect that the country is struggling. Then secondly, Cameroon, like other countries, they depend more on fuel. And Cameroon, when the fuel prices is affected globally, the economy is affected. And this, you realize that most of the Western world today they are affected. Why? Because of the affection of the problem of fuel in the world, and equally the war that is happening in the world, the war in Ukraine, and even the war in Gaza. There are a lot of international NGOs that are focused particularly in those aspects, in those wars. And they direct their attention to Cameroon. And there are a lot of priority projects in the world, which of course, many a times, they don't consider the developing country as per se a priority, since they have a lot of concentration in the war in Ukraine and Gaza. So all of this has really contributed to the worsening economic crisis in the world, and particularly in Africa and Cameroon
as a case study.
Yes.
All right. Let us look, Mr. Sinju, at the place or the voices of opposition parties and leaders. We've hardly heard any opposition party in their outing, advocating for the extension of this mandate. In all of this, the bill has been submitted to Parliament, and we are awaiting the adoption. Fingers crossed. Now, where does this keep the hopes of this opposition, even though they have members even within Parliament, but they are not in any way swayed or moved by the appetite for an extension of the mandate, both municipal and parliamentary? Where does this keep them in all of these happenings?
Yes, thank you very much. I think the debate or the disagreement over the extension of this bill is largely been spearheaded by opposition parties, their members and sympathizers. Especially opposition parties who do not have membership at the level of the Parliament or the Senate. This is where they have a problem. And that is why you see all the debates, all this why has been all the disagreement that the bills are not going to be they are not in agreement with the bill. It's coming from the opposition party. We have people like Noreen Foster, the lady who is an MP, which has already said she is not going to vote the bill. We equally have people like Cabral Lebi and so many political parties, Professor Maurice Cantos, and a whole lot of people have already come out already to show that disapproval of that bill, and they have given their varied reasons. Now, the problem now here is that a large number of political parties who have been gearing up for 2025, if this bill is finally adopted to extend the mandate of the parliamentarian, their dreams of engaging in the 2025 race will be crashed to the wall. Yes, will be crashed. Because why do I say so? That is why they are actually agitating. You have to understand that for you to contest in presidential election, the unfortunate thing is that most of them now, everyone is looking up to the presidential election, which is the greatest.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Everyone is looking up to the presidential election. Now, for you to contest for the position of a presidential election or to stand, there are two ways which you can stand: either through a political party, and the political party will have representation
at the parliament.
At the parliament. I think you understand.
And even at the municipal level.
And now, a good number of this opposition party who for some time now have been getting up, we all know they do not have representation at the level of the parliament, neither at municipal.
Like the MRC.
Yeah, like the MRC for the case in point here, which they have been really agitating. They don't have municipal, they don't have representation. And I always said the MRC made a mistake when they had the opportunity to go in for the municipal election, but they missed out the opportunity.
Yeah.
And now it is really working against them.
Yeah.
This is where now they have it very, very difficult, because the truth of the matter is that you cannot for you to be at the level of the presidency, to contest the level of presidency, you have to start at the base. You have to start at the municipal.
True.
Where you grab some certain
councils.
You grab some certain councils and municipalities. Then you go now to the member of parliament, where you have some certain parliamentarians away before you move to the presidency. Because the law is very clear, the electoral law is very clear. Now, you become a president, you have to pass through a political party, and the political party will have a representation at the level of parliament and municipal. Now, another way which is very good is that you become an independent candidate. But again, the position, becoming an independent candidate, there is a clause for it. For you to stand as an independent candidate, it requires that your application to accompany over 300 signatures from dignitaries, state dignitaries. Now, these 300 signatures must have 30 per region. Cameroon is made up of 10 regions. These 300 signatures must have 30 per region. Out of the 10 regions, you have 30 will give you 300 signatories. Now, the dignitaries who are responsible to provide these signatures are members of parliament, municipal and regional councillors, first class chiefs, These are the people who are actually required to approve that no, you can go. That is the condition. It sound a little bit easier,
yeah,
but it is very tricky.
Very.
It's very tricky because we have never seen a situation like this, that an independent candidate comes up, because it's very tricky. This is a trick in it. The members of the parliament that you need their signature and municipal councillor. Take for example, MRC doesn't have a council. They are not in parliament. Are you understanding? They are not in parliament, and they require that members of this members of parliament and municipal and regional councillors should provide a signature. All those municipal and regional council members of parliament, a chunk of number of them are of the ruling CPDM. And do you expect them to go and approve their signature for an independent opposition party? This is where the problem is. This is where the problem is, and that is why you see most of the opposition parties are crying that no, this cannot work, because even though there is a clause of them that they can easily go through, but again, it is difficult because a chunk of those members of parliament, regional councillor, municipal councillor, and first-class chiefs are of the CPDM. In quote, because when you look at most of these first class chiefs, truth be told, most of them, their boss have their SU, a senior divisional officer. Most of them they are CPDM in disguise. Of course. So you will not. It is very difficult for them to have.
Even though those are local administrators who are supposed to be apolitical.
Who are supposed to be apolitical. And when you go to that very section, you look at it on the electoral code. There is also something that says that the authentication of these signatures must be approved by the administrative authorities in that very area where you want, which means that, for example, if you are standing as a independent candidate in the various administrative authority, like where you have the SU, this document needs to be authenticated. And we all know that, even though we think that some of these administrative authority to they are independent, but they are not independent. So the opposition know that this is where they have a problem. This is where they have a problem, and that's why they are crying foul. Because of the reason. First, they cannot be partake in the election because they don't have any, though they might have political party, legalized political party, but they are not present in parliament.
Yeah,
they are not present in municipal councils. So this is where they have a problem. Looking at independent candidates, they have a problem.
It's a long procedure.
It's a long procedure, a very compulsory procedure which they cannot meet. And now, they already know that most of the opposition party already know that the bill is going to be adopted. To be told, that is a political prophecy. Why? Because my fellow co-panelist has already advanced the reason. In parliament, out of 180, we know the CPDM has a lion's share. So no matter the few opposition party which they are going to vote against the bill, it doesn't make any sense. When I read Honorable Faustine Loring saying that she's not going to vote the bill, I said this is insignificant. Because
what can a drop do?
What can a drop do
to an ocean?
And do we think that the bill will go to parliament and members of the CPDM they will not raise their hand up to support the bill?
Now let us look at the advantage of this bill to the ruling party, Musa. From the way your co-panelist Mr. Sinjo is talking, it is very glaring that this is going to be a form of gloat. The CPDM or the ruling party is going to be gloating over this bill, and they're going to sign it. Something cannot leave government and get into the parliament, and they are the most occupants of the seats, and they are not going to adopt the bill or vote in favor of that bill. Now, how is it in favor of the CPDM? Let's not look at the government, because truly, even though most people will say government is CPDM, but it's not supposed to be like that. Yes. Government is government. Now, how does this stand in favor of the CPDM?
I think he has already answered that. First of all, it will favor the CPDM in the sense that the main people who are tagged like the main opposition party, they will not start for election, and that is an advantage for CPDM equally to grab everything. And honestly, Mabel, I think boycotting election is not an option, no matter the situation. Yeah. We have not seen the solution that he has provided, despite the fact that they are raising to a certain extent valid, but that was not an option. It was a very technical error from them to boycott that. And today it is haunting them. CPDM can decide and they just grab everything and for them without any problem. And Maurice Kamto and his party, they will remain like that. They will agitate, and finally nothing will change. So it's a very big challenge for many of these opposition parties. And that's why you see them agitating. I don't know if for sure the bill will pass. There's no doubt about that. I don't know of any bill that came to Parliament and was rejected. I don't know of any. I'm yet to learn of any. That's the situation. Is honestly, that's the sad truth. It will pass no matter the situation. And it's an advantage to CPD, and they will grab everything and they will sit like that.
Now, I'm still not clear how this is going to be an advantage to the ruling party. I mean, you've said, a lot and about how the bill is going to be adopted and all of that. Categorically, of what outstanding advantage is this to the ruling party?
As I mentioned first, the ruling party will not have any opposition to drag with. We know that so far the SDF, despite the fact that they have some few members in Parliament, since 1992 they have been going down up to now, and this crisis has really affected SDF in the Northwest and Southwest region. And that was the stronghold of SDF, and the crisis has humbled them down with just few parliamentarians. And for the party of Maurice Kamto, for me, I don't even call it an opposition, because an opposition should have members in the parliament, and that is where he has to make a say. Despite the fact that he is loved by many Cameroonians, he has followers, he has made a very big mistake in my own analysis for him not to stand for the election. And as he is not standing already, the CPD is not having anyone to tussle with. They will just have an easy way for the presidential election, an easy way through, a breakthrough for them. And it's very dangerous for many opposition parties that were thinking to really do something. The only way that Cameroon can be saved, or the opposition can do something, is for them to be united. But it is becoming impossible because of personal interest that they have. They cannot come together. It's difficult. If they can sit and come together and select someone who can stand in front, maybe they will try. But for now, the situation is very complex.
Very complex.
There's no way out. There's no way out for it.
Yeah, there's no way out for it. Let us look at how this can affect voters' apathy. We are living in, an environment, a Cameroonian environment, where a lot of youth and aging people have given up the hopes of voting because they feel like year in, year out, they already can, forecast, or they can envision the result of elections already.
Yeah.
Now, we have a lot of new political parties, like the MRC came up, sprung during the 2018 elections, where we started hearing of the MRC. And there has been a lot of revolution of the minds, the spirit, and the hopes of Cameroonians, and pitching how powerful the voters card can be. Let us look at all of this on the chessboard of extension and all of these contrary voices. So, of what negative consequences can it be to the individuals who are hoping that maybe this time around their votes can be telling, this time around their voters cards could have a voice?
Okay, it's going to the decision to extend the mandate, if the bill is finally approved, is going to have a very effect on voter apathy on Cameroonians, truth be told, because majority of Cameroonians they have all been preparing for 2025. They are all been preparing for 2025. To see that, but they believe that 2025 is a year of change, and they have all been preparing to see how they can bring this change through the ballot box, and especially through their political party leaders, those who are members, those who are sympathizers of various political party leaders. Yeah, but unfortunately, if that bill is approved and their dreams are going to be crashed on the wall, because most of those who they were looking up to, that were going to champion or stand the race of presidential race, they are going to be sidelined because they conditioned they will not meet up. But again, I think this opposition party, they still have a means.
Yeah, yeah.
There are some political party who are the member who have councils, who they are in the parliament. They can have a coalition with them and still put forth their political ambitions through that coalition. Coalition is very possible. We have even the ruling CPDN. They have a lot of opposition party which they are in coalition, which we all know. So it is not an issue. It's by their political right to make sure that two political parties they can come together to see how they can move their political agenda. But again, this is another possible way, Madam Moderator, to see how this opposition party can break through a coalition. But this is another problem that they have. First, the last presidential election, Cameroonians, a chunk of Cameroonians cry for coalition. We never had it, and even at this hour that we are talking, they are not even showing us any intention of coalition. Nobody is willing to see that. Okay, let form a coalition.
And who is going to be the head?
Who is going to be the head? Everyone wants to become the head to lead. So you see that even among the opposition, there is still another crisis. There's another opposition, because this would have been a very easy way. Should it be that the bill is finally adopted, okay, the opposition, they can come together to see how they can form a coalition to be able to contest. But now that political individualistic interest over general interest of Cameroonians is what is killing the opposition in Cameroon.
Okay.
We then accept now to form a coalition, which we are still waiting to see.
Now,
so you see where the problem is.
This is becoming a little bit very sensitive, because if we need to address the big elephant in the room, then we need to come together, because a lot of schools of thought, though not very legal schools of thought, are of the opinion that an individual opposition body cannot combat the ruling party. Anyways, there is no gainsaying that things may happen, and as long as you have your voters card can do the magic. Rally behind glaringly your opposition party. But let us look at the veracity of that. Immediately after this jingle break, we get on the jingle break, and when we come back, and then we are well energized to talk about coalition and to look into the various angles of this big topic that we have on board. Thank you for staying with us. ladies and gentlemen, and the program on board is Matters. And in case you're just joining on, then you have been joining us, and then you've not lost so much of your time, and of course you're not going to regret the less than 1 hour that we have on the program this evening. We are looking at the contrary voices that have been multiplying ever since the bill that has been submitted to Parliament vis-a-vis mandate election of municipal councillors and parliamentarians are involved. We are keeping our fingers crossed whether or not this bill is going to be adopted, and we know that a lot of voices have been amplified within the opposition domain, wherein opposition candidates have been overtly totally against it, saying that all of these quadruple elections must hold. We know that in 2025 we are gearing up against municipal elections, parliamentarian elections, regional elections, and the presidential elections. And dear people, in case you are sitting and you're sluggish, you're very laggard about the acquisition of your voters card, then I think that there is a lot that can be changed within the political chessboard with just a voters card. Before we took leave of you, we were talking about how much influence does a voters card have, and how much of these could generate voters apathy and all of that. Mr. Musa, you were about to grab the mic before we went on the jingle break.
Yes, Mabel, I have a serious problem with many Cameroonians, particularly the youth. For sure, the postponement of the election will affect the voters in one way or the other. But many Cameroonians, they claim or they feel that they are, I don't know how to say it, they are frustrated with the system. Now, this is the problem in Cameroon. We have close to 30 million Cameroonians. And sometimes Eleka, they are always proud when they register 6 million Cameroonians. Is that majority in Cameroon?
That is not even half of half.
Good. Now, among the 6 million, believe me, sometimes not up to 4 million will vote. Imagine 4 million Cameroonians deciding for 30 million Cameroonians. And we must not say that many Cameroonians are under the age of voting. No. Majority of Cameroonians are youth between 18 and 35. And many a times, they are not voting. You see someone who is in his 30s, you ask him, have you ever voted? He will tell you that he has not.
He doesn't even know.
That is the mentality. That is the mentality that we have to change, Mabe.
Now, before we get into the mentality, still on this voters apathy and all of that, what would you say is the advancement, or what would you say is the reason why most Cameroonians, steer clear the voting platform?
They always claim that they are frustrated with the system. No matter the situation, they will not change it. That's what they say. CPDM will win, this and that. CPDM, to me, CPDM is winning without any problem. They are winning the election without any corruption.
That's a dangerous thing to
winning.
say.
I'm telling you, they are winning. I will explain you how they are winning. Many Cameroonians, they don't vote for election. Who are those voting?
And they
are the civil servants who vote for CPDM, actually. And the military people and so on, they are the one rallying behind the CPDM. CPDM is everywhere. So how can you say they don't win? How many people are voting for the opposition party if we claim that the opposition parties are winning this particular area? So it's a very big challenge. I must tell you that, Mabel, our problem is mentality. If Senegal was like Cameroon, they would not change their president. Look at how their president did to change the constitution, but they stood. And many of them, they are the young voters. And many of them who voted the current president, who is a young man, they are the youth. And here in Cameroon, many of them, they are just concentrated in Paris looking football. They can narrate football from morning till evening. Tell you how Ronaldo is the best player, he has scored here, he has traveled here, and so on. But what are you doing to change your country? What are you doing? Every day you are crying. To have a job in Cameroon today is difficult. Why? Because people are not taking their responsibility. If you are not comfortable with the system, vote for people who will deliver the system for you. And we sit, we are just complaining that the system is rotten, this and that. How many people, even now as we are talking, how many youths have registered? How many of them?
We have a lot of political parties who are in the market, in the fields, advocating,
But the problem is how many youth are taking that and registering.
Now, before I'll come back to you for you to, complete the lines of whether or not this is working to our favor and what we can do to actually, do a reformation. But let me see if it is justifiable why most of these youths are not voting, and that is why I think I should change my gaze a little bit from one youth to the other. Remember, you have a question to answer. You were talking about while the CPDM will keep winning, while we keep you on a little mute for a while, I will turn my gaze to somebody who represents the Vatican here. Pope Bertrand is here, and he is going, I don't know at this time whether he's going to bring in a Christian skin or he's going to bring a political undertone. But we are talking about voters' apathy, and in the background you've been following the conversations on the table. What would you say as a youth that is advocating for this voters' apathy, while a lot of people, stay clear even from voting? Is it because they feel like their vote or the instrument called the voters' card doesn't have the voice, or the voice is not as loud as it should be?
Well, Madam Moderator, thank you for giving me a mic. Say hello to fellow countrymen and of course to our televiewers. We are gearing up to 2025, which is the political year, which is going to be a new phase of administration of politics to our country, and of course it's going to improve or endanger us the more. So your voter's card is a weapon that you need to hold to decide your future as our constitution states in the next 7 years. Your voter's card at this point stands as a bullet, and of course you are the gun. So maybe Cameroonian youths in general, of course, hold their different opinion. I will not counteract that.
They are not valid.
The voters, they will not counteract their opinion that are not valid, and I will not also turn my eyes on the malfunction and the unmatured presentation the ELECAM has been giving us in the past years. So, but I want to say that, as it is often said, if at first you don't succeed, you have to try again. And of course, everyone is feeling the heat. We know the tension in the country we are living today. Commodities have gone up, fuel, this and that. We are living in hell. So this is the last time. Our backs are all on the wall. And good enough, yeah, are the ballot boxes just a meter, an inch away from us. So voters card, dear Cameroonians, dear brothers, dear sisters, is something that even if you haven't owned before, try to make sure that you have it. It is a contract you are going to sign with whoever. If you feel your neighbor will vote, will sign a contract, and you will live in it, either in hot or in well. So it's better you be on that day on the contract table to sign in your candidate that will guide you, that will survive you in the next 7 years. Away from that, Mabel, I heard from the background talking about the bill that has been tabled in the house, in the lower house. Of course, we have to understand that CPDM has a monopoly over that house when you go by the members that are there. So you and I know very well that if 10 persons are in a house and a question is asked who favors who, and 5 persons raise your hand, even your opinion will be buried. So some of this, like the CPD have 152 representatives at the House of Assembly.
Out of how many? 180.
180. So what are we talking about? So now looking at the mandate, one thing we should understand in politics is that when you are failed, you are failed. When you cannot deliver to your community, you are failed. And it is not an extension of 1 year that will make this parliamentarian to sit up. If you have not given borehole to your community, local developmental farm to market road. You will not do that in a year. So I don't see if this bill was to compensate some people, or are they trying to compensate some parliamentarians to see if they can cross carpet. I don't understand why the bill is coming. You see, the American Liberation Statement say that it is upon the rules and the regulation of the country, it is upon the citizens of the country that the rules were made and institutions were put in place, and that when the institution starts to fail, it is the responsibility of the people to stand up and question such an institution. I gave my friend a pat on the back when he recalled the crisis in the neighboring Kenya and other countries. That is where the people stand to say, yes, at this point we have given you 7 years, you are coming up for questioning, because this is the time in the political game, this is the time the parliamentarians, the representative of the people, they go back to their people, and of course it is always in they climb on top of stages and go act and question back. Of course, that type of politics is not yet, it is in the document, it is not applied, but this is when we are talking about politics, this is how politics should go. So maybe the second thing I would like to say about that bill, about this type of suggestion in the House of Parliament, some other parliamentarians wouldn't know that they have lost ground. They just know that, okay, I have 12 months of salary again. Yeah, they just that I have 12 months on salary. I even thought that it's any in 3 months, but thank God it's an extension. So they see it.
But this extension is going to be for just.
It's going to be for 12 months. So I don't say
for just parliamentarian.
Yes,
and municipal.
Yes, I won't call it.
I think the big catch that most Cameroonians are looking at, except I'm wrong, is a presidential election. So how much of this is still going to affect them?
My moderator, look, we start. There must be smoke for this to be an assumption that it's free. There must be smoke for there to be an assumption that is. See, there are two things. Either the ruling party has not put its plan very well. That is why they are giving an extension. Why do I say so? Because when the municipal and the municipal elections and the parliamentary election come, I will have the representative of my constituency representing me, and it is this same representative that they will send them back. That you need for us to retain you. You have to first of all secure that CPDM reigns and lives again. You get it? So, but if a parliamentarian, let me just take an example. If a parliamentarian know that he has already been secured his position, he doesn't give a bullshit about the presidential election. Whoever wins, he has the universal suffrage that covers him. But when they say that they are giving an extension, now you have to fight in Cameroon to do politics by words and by finance. You have to fight to guarantee in your constituency that CPDM I stood for you. And of course, the ruling party rules again, and now the ruling party have to, conscience have to play. So this is where such a bill will definitely pass, and of course it will pass in favor of the ruling party.
When you talk about passing in favor of the ruling party, and the ruling party had not well strategized, do you think that is an oversight, or this is you putting things into perspective? Do you think the extension is about the ruling party, or it is about a crippling economy because of a crisis as stipulated by the Constitution, Article 15, subsection 4, which states an extension could be made based on a crisis?
Now we are looking, because they haven't told us the reason, as it is still a bill to be looked in. So we are also looking at the alternative why such a bill should be coming at this point in the political lifespan of our country. For the people who table this bill, or the parliamentarian who table this bill, should have spelled out the reason why such a proposal was made. Is it due to the crippling economic status, or it is because of the risk crisis zone and how we have spent money in balancing the crisis on the northwest and southwest and other parts of the country? But if not of that, if not for these two reasons I have stated, we all know Cameroonians have been waiting patiently to come out for such a jamboree, for such a turnover in the political life of our country.
Madam Moderator, let me just quickly add something to what he has said. I think from the beginning I gave reasons why the government decided to table a bill for the extension of mandate. Even though
it's not clear.
Yeah, it's not clear. The section of our constitution, section 50, paragraph 4, talks about crisis or when it warrants. But though the constitution,
they are just stipulations.
Yeah, the constitution did not go further to explain the nature of crisis. But I think we can draw inspiration from the outing of the Prime Minister, that of other government officials who have come out to throw more light on what the situation is. I think the Prime Minister made mention of the fact that due to the budgetary constraint of the state at this moment, the state won't be able to meet up with the organization of those 4 elections. And I think I did mention that at the start of the session, the ongoing session at the National Assembly, we even saw where the president even sent or signed an order, an ordinance, I beg your pardon, to revise certain section of our finance law where we have fees of the ID card extension. And I think these reasons were attached by the mere fact that the state is facing budgetary constraint. I think that's one of the reasons the government who tables the bill was trying to advance, that due to the budgetary constraint of the state. I think they also mentioned, the Prime Minister also mentioned another factor, that in order not to lighten up the election calendar of 2025, given that we have 4 elections, municipal, parliamentarian, Senate, regional, and that of the presidential, those 4 elections, to lighten up, because the government saw that to organize, for Cameroon to organize these 4 elections, it requires finances and it requires proper organization. It requires proper organization. Given that ELECAM equally needs time to see that they can organize the election to produce the credible result that we have been yearning for.
Yeah.
To produce the credible result that we have been yearning for. So the government feels that no, in order to make sure that we have the results, let us lighten up the calendar year to see that we can push forward some elections for 2026 while organize presidential election. And many people, especially opposition, that have come out to cry foul, they think that no, it is the strategy of the CP. Then you see that no, they can push the opposition apart. But again, you cannot, like many opposition parties are saying that it is out of law. I don't see where it is out of law, because the government is acting within the law, and what the constitution says in that section 15, paragraph 4, the government is acting within the law. So, but again, like I said, when you don't prepare well, like what he was saying, when you don't prepare well, when the situation like this catch you up, you have a reason to complain.
Now, is this about preparation?
Yes, because most of this opposition, they had opportunity when we had the last municipal election for them to go in, but they decided to boycott. And that is why we are saying to Cameroonians and political party leaders that each time you boycott an election, it is a problem on you and those who are going to vote. We discourage political party to stay aloof, to boycott election for whatever reason, because it only goes to act as an advantage for the ruling political party in place. So we are saying that even at the bill has been tabled at the parliament pending approval or disapproval, we should go on with registration. People should be able to identify, to register them with the various ELECAM branches, because even with the extension, we can still have political miracles that will take place. We can still have.
Okay,
It's-
let
it's
us get the
very possible.
veracity of that. That was quite comic and very funny, talking about political miracles. I want to turn my gaze to somebody who said the CPDM or the ruling party has been winning and will always be winning. Before I took leave of you, you made that very captivating, statement, which could be an attraction to a lot of castigation as well. But let me give you an opportunity to justify what you meant by that.
Yes, I think before I justify why I meant of that, first of all, I want to comment that I have a problem with the way elections are organized in Cameroon.
Okay.
In the sense that the series of elections, for example, which one comes first, which one is second, which one is third, is a charm, and we have to change that. How can you be voting senators in 2023 when you are voting the councillors in 2025? When they are the one to vote the senators? How can the outgoing councillors be voting incoming senators? So there is a problem with even the order of the election. Not talking of maybe the number of elections in a year. Those are the things that the ELECAM or the government, they have to review. They have to review the number of elections in a
And
year.
the manner.
And the manner, which one comes first,
Yes.
which one comes second. Because imagine someone like a councillor who knows that he will not be elected, who intentionally vote a senator who he knows that he will not perform.
Yes.
And he has gone him, they have not elected him. But the senator is there for another mandate. It's wrong. You have to organize an election. This one comes first, before this one, not doing it haphazardly so that you have organized an election. Now coming back to what I said, the statement was, I say in my own opinion, I'm seeing that CPDM, they are winning the election without any problem. And I want to justify, I've not said they will win and they will still win tomorrow, no. They have been winning. And this is my logic here. I told you, Mabel, that how many Cameroonians are there? We say there are about 30 million Cameroonians.
Cameroonians.
And we say approximately 6 million have registered or always register for election. And approximately 3 to 4 million always go and vote for that election. And when we ask the question, who are the majority who always register for the election? They are the civil servant. You know, automatically when you acquire a particular civil status, like being a civil servant, like a director in a company, do you know that there's a time that they give you, when the election is coming, they send you back for campaign for CPDM? And the question is, Mabel, in the northwest and southwest region, the CPDM, they have their military that they can go anywhere and conduct election. But the other opposition party, do they have?
And whose fault is that?
The fault is the way the system is, and our own youth, that they don't, their mindset, the mindset of the youth, that they are so frustrated with the system that they don't register
Care
for
anymore.
election. So it's not the matter of only registering. They have to register and follow
And
the
follow
election.
up.
Many of them, they were frustrated because few of them, they have registered and they failed to follow the election, and they go
Now, at the time
start-
where the country is in a political turmoil, would you talk about this youth going to supervise, survey, or be watchdogs over their elections at various polling stations?
Is that right?
When you know that during those days there are maybe some restrictions, and during those days it is putting their lives on the altar of maybe risk?
Mabel, do you know something? When it comes to an election, we are talking about logistics here. Logistics in the sense that the military should be part of the election. They should secure civilians to go and vote,
But is
no
that
matter the
but,
situation.
but is that the case?
That is where the lapses is, Mabel. If that can be solved, where they are, they carry the civilian They secure them, then they go and vote, they follow the election, and they secure them and bring them back. I think many will change. And that's why I mentioned that SDF, they have lost a lot because of this Anglophone crisis. Many of them, they don't have the military or the manpower to go to the suburb and start campaigning. They don't have. But CPDM, they do. They move around with armor car. They can move and go to any village that they want. But the others, they don't have. And it's their right to be protected equally. And our problem is very cumbersome. We are here, seated here, like Cameroonians, but only a few people decide who is supposed to sit, where is supposed to sit.
All right, we
It's
take
a
on a
big
few.
challenge.
We take on a few reactions. We have a lot of people following the program, and their contributions to is going to be such a beautiful window dressing on the program this evening. Nerus Anong says, "I'm sure they will be wanting it to extend for 7 years, so before then their pockets are full." Ngong Michael say, "I wonder the kind of voices that would trigger an urgent cabinet meeting. They are sensitive, so we shouldn't expect anything other than the extension as fallout of the meeting." Mandate extension in Cameroon has often been by dictatorial decree since 1997. Time has come. People will choose their own leaders. That choice may be through a conflict transition. Well, whatever that means. This is from Betamo Romanus. If we must postpone election, let's rather postpone the presidential elections then. What do you think, Mr. Pope?
Well,
This is from Mabu Rene.
Yes, Mr. Rene, thank you very much for that. Let me go back to Madam Mabel. Let me take a twist to what he was saying. Musa was saying. CPDM longevity in position has made them to understand the platform of the game. Because one of the main opposition is the MRC, and they are not their chances of being at the on the presidential pool has been shattered already, being that they don't have a representative at the level of the parliament, the municipal councillors, and in another area I don't remember. So pushing the parliamentary and municipal election already tells you that they are pushing some opposition parties. Because as it stands now,
MRC cannot.
yes, as it stands at the MRC, we need 30 signatures from every region.
Is it 300 or 30, Mr. Sinju?
300 in total.
300 in total.
30 in per region. And we know that, and these signatures will come from second class elites. They usually use the word elite of every region.
Like chiefs?
Chiefs, some notables in the community, chiefs, notables in the community.
And that's going to be difficult to find?
And that is, which chief want to pen down the signature for an opposition party?
That's what I said.
So you see that is where the voices of the opposition party are coming out straight. And why I also say that the CPDM have a lot of political Maradonas, which of course...
Now, for the case where a candidate is standing alone like the MRC political leader, what should be advocated? What should be the crusade for a coalition?
It's only a coalition that can save him.
All right. Jeremy Romy says, "Sometimes I'm tempted to regret why I was born a Cameroonian. Is Cameroon an Iceland? Even an Iceland has laws that govern it. One thing I know is that nothing lasts forever. When God's time will come, the change we wish to see will equally come. No matter what. As long as you live, there is still hope for Cameroonians." This one says, "All those opposition parties should resign. Let's go back to one-party system." This is from Yenjong Gideon. Okay, I'm going to be coming to you. What your take on one-party system? The president is the reason Cameroon is not the way it's supposed to be, because he does only things that helps only he stay in power, not to improve the lives of Cameroonian. Okay, this one is for George Tata. "If they think Cameroon has benefited anything from their rule, let them dare it this time around." Okay. So were they holding the bill and the meeting to disapprove the bill awards, because it will always be as he wants, meeting or not. I'm sure after this meeting, their money for fuel will be 2 million each. This is going to be an empty meeting. Okay, from Barrister Tongo. All right, thank you. Looking for ways to overcome opposition parties come election 2025. These people and their maneuvers. I already sniff what is happening. Ngamini Collins, an opportunity for opposition to sit and have a rethink for a coalition, because at this point, no matter how loudly the opposition voices are without a coalition, no one is going to listen. Okay. Leaders have lost touch with realities on the ground. Time will tell. Just sit and send out all instructions letters. All right. I don't know whether Cameroon is a country or a tribe, because I'm confused. The way things are going on in the country is like, in fact, I'm short of word. Madam the moderator, can I send a voice message for this program? With the way you have started, I think no. Thank you so much. Make we just manage. Well, I'm not very good at reading pidgin English, but I think I'm doing my time of recess on the program. I'm going to go through it. Thank you guys so much. If it were really the agenda of the PM, the PM should have rather consulted with the election stakeholders, the MPs, ELECAM, and the political party leaders, at least those represented in Parliament. I don't think the agenda was about the bill postponement mandate of MPs and councillors. Anyways, thank you. Lots of reactions. Where do you want to start from? Is there any reaction that has actually caught your attention? Atem Gerard says, please, our leaders, what you people are planning to do will not help our democracy by extending the mandate of parliamentarians. Please give opportunity to all Cameroonians to participate in the presidential election. Our country is already at the crossroad. Please, can you please help reduce this tension by respecting the calendar of election? I rest my case. Atem Gerard.
Yes, I think you mentioned about the one-party system in Cameroon, and we have seen it elsewhere. For example, there are some countries that are doing well with them having a monarch like a king. Like for example, Saudi Arabia, we have,
and the Great
Morocco.
Britain.
In Britain, despite the fact that they elect their prime minister, that their president is a monarch. So we cannot say one party system is not the best. It's still good. But however, in the case of Cameroon, I will not encourage that. What I will encourage is for the opposition to come together. That is the only way that they can change this country. But if they remain like that, fighting for their personal interests, who will lead?
But that's the reason there, fighting for personal interests.
That is the issue, and honestly, Mabel, they have to sit and rethink again.
Okay.
Because sometimes when they are fighting, the civilians are the ones suffering. Many people have ambition. We love Cameroon. Cameroon is our country. We are not going anywhere. How do we come in now and see how we can change Cameroon or make it a better country for each and every one of us? The opposition, they should have a say. Imagine what is happening recently in Europe, like in France, in Britain. Recently, what is happening? Look at how the opposition parties came and they took everything. For example, in France, the far right, they have taken the majority. They are almost at 300 and something, while the party of Emmanuel Macron is 100 and something. So those are the kind of ambitions that we need. You realize that in France, when the election was happening, people stood for hours upon hours to have their way say or to have their own contribution. But here in Cameroon, people are frustrated that they cannot stand for long. They just take it like normal, nothing will change. And that is really handicapping us. And that is why we are in the system that things are very difficult. I don't have any say.
Let's
They
passively
just
talk
win.
about coalition, which has resurfaced on this debate table for at least 3 consecutive times. Mr. Sinju, before I head over to Mr. Pope Bertrand, coalition is not as easy as we say it, considering that there is going to be a bone of contention, and we all know who is going to be the leader of the coalition. Even though some people have advocated with their pens and their voices that during the time of the coalition, the focus should not be on who is president first. The focus should be on overthrowing the incumbent, if this is their goal, before at the end of the day, when that win has been established, the coming together of who is going to man as president resurfaces. Do you think we are going to go down that aisles of coalition, and why has it taken us so much time for us to think about coalition? Or is it that we have been thinking about it, but what is the barricade between us and the coalition? Because it is, it is just like a routine dance wherein every year for time immemorial we have had just one president and we have just the ruling party winning and winning. Is it something that the opposition parties are not doing, which they should start considering doing?
Yes, thank you. I think before I dive into that, I just want to indicate that I was just going through, and I heard that a lot of media outlets are already reporting that CBN gave a standing ovation for the bill at the National Assembly to extend the mandate of the MPs in the plenary sitting today, which were held today, and all the 52 members of parliament of CBN, which of course constitute the lion's share of the 180 members of parliament, voted in favor of that bill, which we said from the beginning here that there is no way which that bill can be rejected in the National Assembly. Yeah, so that is also some media outlets are already reporting. So, but again, talking about coalition, I've said here several times that the opposition are not doing justice to Cameroonians. I will keep saying it. I think the problem, one of the reasons why there is increased voter apathy in Cameroon, is being caused by opposition political parties. At times they keep blaming the CPDM for nothing. The CPDM, I will say it, in fact I said it, I'm saying it, even tomorrow I will say it, that the CPDM have been winning their election
Effortlessly.
Without
any rigmarole.
Without no gymnastics, whatever they're saying.
Is that going to be a fair thing to say?
Because reason, this is why. The political landscape which the politics is taking place favors the ruling opposition party, the ruling CPDM. That you boycott an election is already in favor of the ruling CPDM. They are winning. That is just a cooperative. That is just an advantage which they have already on their side. That you refuse that, no, I'm not going to register and vote. CPDM has already won. Then when CPDM win now tomorrow, you start saying that CPDM won through a fraudulent method or whatever method. I don't understand. You understand? So that is why I have always blamed the voters, the increased voter apathy in our country in election on opposition. Because the opposition, they are not even focused. I feel that the opposition, they are not putting the interest of Cameroonians, but they are putting their political interest and individualist interest ahead over the interest. Because if they were putting on the interest of Cameroonians, they will hear the cries of Cameroonians that they want a change. And Cameroonians feel that this change can come through them.
But why has it been a long time forthcoming? Is it because of this interest we are talking about?
It has not been coming because the opposition has been divided.
Okay.
When you look at our opposition, we keep seeing many new political parties being coming up every year. When you look at their political manifestation, the reason of creating the political party, you see that 80 or 70% align to a particular opposition party, which to me is enough reason for you to align with that opposition party so that you can have a stronger base. You can have a stronger base. We hear many key members of opposition political party resign. They go and create their party. When you want to look at political agenda, the political manifestation is still the same. What reason? So what we are saying that what is the problem that is stopping our opposition political party to come together and save Cameroon from this situation? Is first of all they have political party interest, which they want to say individual interest, because there is no way. It is not like a municipal election where you go by list. You know, you let me say you want to conquer a particular council. You go there, okay, this is the list that they are presenting. Maybe a citizen present a list. This one you go
and this is for just for one seat.
Yes. Then now before they come and sit down now to choose which is supposed to be a council,
yes.
a mayor.
Yes.
So that of the president is quite
It's
different. We need to see one person that will project as a president. You see, this is where the problem is. So I think it might be very easy for the level of municipal for opposition to come, because at least they can go back now and decide. But now that for the presidential election, it becomes very tricky because one person must stand ahead.
Now, constitutionally, what does it take for a coalition to be formed? Constitutionally, is it an uphill task? Is it a daunting task? Is it something that is as easy as we see it? Does it take several years of preparation? Do you think if these active opposition parties come together, they can do it before or during 2025? Is it possible, Mr.
Yes,
Musa?
I think it's very possible. I think it's not an uphill task to come together. It depends your purpose, your objectives, and your goals. And maybe to come to what Mr. Sunjo has said, honestly, Mabe, we are in Cameroon and we have more than 300 candidates, presidential candidates, or people who are aspiring to be opposition parties. What for? What are we doing with that number? In Cameroon, more than 300. What for? What are they doing? What are they doing? Look at a country like America. We have only two renounced, maybe with a third one which is independent. But here in Cameroon, we are talking of 300 and something. What for? What are they doing? Can they not come together like one individual and present a candidate?
But do you think that there is a lot beneath the carpet that we are not seeing? Some of this, quote and unquote clandestine or mushroom parties.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear at the nick of time they come together and they talk about coalition. Do you think it is some agenda that is also put into play, way before? Because a country like Cameroon, 300, I think that is way exorbitant.
But I also think that it is not unconstitutional.
For sure, it is not.
It's not on.
The problem is the mindset.
No, the problem here is for coalition to be effective. It's just like you choosing a partner. And for you choosing a partner, your political manifestos must match. But our politicians, what they practice, they call them politicians, but what they practice is bebetics instead of politics. Because they go for their selfish interest. You will see somebody who not up to 10 followers, he goes and registers and take the envelope that is being given. He looks for two remote areas or even in cities, make his campaign there. On the day of election, I'm sure he even vote for another party. Those things happen. You will not blame the CPDM for that. Because everybody is laying down their own strategy. Because you see CPD as an enemy. CPD also sees as an enemy. So that is why they say it is an election year. You bring your political strength, your political tricks, because it is a year that this is okay. It is a scene. It is a political scene for everybody to bring what they have in order to take the office. So one of the things I also believe that some coalition will be very difficult in Cameroon. Our constitution,
But not impossible.
not impossible. Our constitution makes it in a very flexible way. They also remember that in politics, there's what we call puncture. The ruling party also look at some party members, or any other party can look at some party and say, hey, this party, this is even in our school days when you see a small campaign for SP position and stuff like that. When you see that this person is in this party and he has fame to pull a crowd, you go there and tip the person off. It happens. But now, the first thing is, why would coalition be very difficult in Cameroon context? Because you have somebody who doesn't have the population, but he has the finance. You have somebody who have the population behind him, but probably he does not have the finance, as Musa just said there, to go into remote areas for campaign. So you will hear the person making people hailing him around the cities, the urban cities. Oh, this man is like that. But what happened? We have more remote areas than the urban areas in our country. So you see the person who has the money says, I'm bringing my money for this project. He's not bringing the money for the interest of all Cameroonians. It's a project. That's what you always hear them say. The other person will say, I have the population to deal with. But for a clear-cut shot for coalition, you bring your political manifestos together, you disagree on the ones that do not tie. Then on that coalition table, those ones that do not tie, you try to reconcile them, and then you vote them back. That's how coalition goes. They can say, okay, you do this, you will be your party will take the president, our party will take the prime minister. What are the other positions? So those ones that don't agree, you reshape them.
Okay, now are you saying what should have happened?
I'm telling you that this is how a coalition setup is being organized. But you will see one party will come into play and say that you people have maybe 10 laws, 10 constitution that govern your party. We have 10, but now we are a senior party over you people. So we are going to adopt only 3 of your own laws, and that's why you see there's an automatic fallout. But if you are working for the interest of Cameroonians, you look at this point with a different perspective.
Okay, now let me just add to what you were saying, what he said. You see, coalition is very easy in Cameroon among the opposition political parties. I think at one moment we hear the Minister of Territorial Administration came out, and I think many opposition parties cried that the Minister of Territorial Administration was saying that no, you need to go to administrative authority if you want to do coalition and obtain a permission. It's very easy. We have seen, like I said from the beginning, CPDN is in coalition with many opposition parties, which we know. Yeah. What does it take to do coalition? It's not something that require any administrative document. By my own knowledge, what we have been seeing is for the two political parties to sit down and dialogue and agree that we want to get into coalition. What do we know? Then the opposition party, they should go out.
This coalition that we are talking about,
and inform their members.
If we must get into coalition, here we have about 300, arguably about 350. About 250 parties that we are looking at, opposition parties that we are looking at here. Now, is it going to take all of these opposition parties coming together, or some big wings opposition political parties coming together?
No, you see, let's say it might not be all of them coming, but you can have some 2 big wings opposition party, coming together, 2 of them coming together. Let's say SCF, MRC, deciding that okay, they want to form a coalition, and it's very simple for the various chairperson of this political party. Simple, organize a press conference and inform their members of their political party that we have agreed to go into coalition with MRC or SDF. You inform the public and inform the police so that your members of the political party and their sympathizer, they will know that okay, when they are going now to vote, they know that we have people for the SDF voting for one person, those for the MRC voting for one person, and that's how it goes. It's as simple. This is the tricks that this opposition political party did. I think in the last election, at the eve of election, they came out that they have formed a coalition. You cannot come at the eve to inform your members of party that they have, that you have gotten into a coalition with another opposition party at the eve. And I remember at the beginning of the year, we cried out that we want opposition party to come out now and declare that they are in coalition with this party, so that Cameroonians should be aware. Don't take the overnight and begin to tell that no, you have gone into a coalition with this political party, because they also need to prepare. They need to go, so that people who are going out during campaigns, they should start informing, or during programs, they should inform that no, we have this opposition party who are in coalition. So we don't want something that will come overnight at home midnight and begin to inform Cameroonians that no, we have this opposition that way into coalition. So coalition is an easy thing, very easy to do. We have seen the ruling party go into coalition without any stress.
Now,
so
do you think that it's going to be way easier for these political parties to come together based on the identification or the unanimity of their manifestos?
Yes. First of all, manifesto is like laws or bylaws that governs that political party. And now when two political parties coalesce, they have to do a summary and come up one manifesto that will guide the party. When they go out for election.
But how easy is that going to be, considering that manifesto visions of the nation, the vision of a political party, of a political leader, is what influences a manifesto?
Yes, that is even where you see coalition becomes very difficult.
A nightmare
for Cameroon political parties, because egoism. Nobody will want to say that what have been governing us over the years should now be thrown as trash, and then we are living by other people's manifestos. But if you are doing that for the sake of the population, you see, the goal of a political party is liberation, to liberate its people. So if you cannot give up your own egoism for the sake of your people, you have tried the first year, second year, third time rather, and you see that your manifesto have been failing you, and here is an opportunity where you can coalesce with somebody, and then you make a resume of your manifestos, and if this one could save the life of the people you represent, I think that is a good way to go. But away from that, when you like they say, you repeat the same action and you expect different reactions, it is not possible. So our political party leaders, I don't even see what we own the party. Without the population rallying behind the political party, it won't be a political party. One man has never had a party. You must have the elites and the masses for you to have a political party, the population. Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are almost dragging the curtains of today's program. I'm going to take on a few reactions yet again, so that for some of you who think you are feeling left out, I have the studio phone buzzing with a lot of messages. Maybe read my message and all of that. I'm going to take about 1 minute to read on your messages, but while I keep scrutinizing some of the messages to read, I want to give the microphone to Mr. Musa Naibu as he bids the program a farewell and gives his outro. What do you have to say to Cameroonians who are seated in the comfort of their houses, and they have given up on the hopes of elections? And with all, Cameroon has become a drama to some people, like a Nollywood movie and all of that, or a Hollywood movie, where eventually we can foretell the ending from the beginning, and we can already, from the poster, we can tell the characters and everything that's going to be playing. But is there hope amidst this chaos in our minds?
Yes, Mabel, before then, I think I want to clarify something. Sometimes when they talk of opposition, people feel that opposition are people who are against the ruling party in all aspects that they bring. That's not the right decision. Opposition are people who direct and correct the ruling party. There are some aspects that they match with the ruling party and they accept it and work together. It's not all the bills that comes to parliament the opposition is supposed to reject, right? Otherwise, we look at it as a negative DC. We look at opposition as being a negative aspect. Now, Mabel, I must tell you that no matter the challenge now, no matter the situation that we are facing, young people and Cameroonians out there, they should not be discouraged with the system. Better days are still ahead. It will change our mindset. I still insist again, the only way that we can change this country is through the ballot. There's nothing else again. There's
no magic.
There's no magic. It's for us to register, vote, we'll follow our vote, and it will be better for us. But we sit and say we are frustrated with the system, nothing will change. We'll play parade, we'll watch football, we'll do this, we'll drink, and we are not contributing anything. But when we sit, we are giving negative this thing to the leaders. It becomes a very big challenge for us to have that change. So register, vote, follow your vote, and tomorrow you have a bright future. If not, your children will enjoy the country. Cameroon is a very good country and it's one of the richest countries that we have.
Yeah. They have, I just want to add to what Mr. Musa is saying. They have noticed that Cameroonians like but beer, and the sizes of the beer has been increased, or you like say the volume of beer bottles has been added to get Cameroonians more drunk and senseless. I like this country. From Christus Ndom. Cameroonians, they should extend it to 2033 now. Cameroon, they should extend it to 2033 now. Is a business. Are you talking from the diaspora or are you Cameroonian? French Cameroonian youths are busy drinking their beer as though this doesn't concern them. Chai! From Montia Mbele. The high instruction will come that the president has issued a decree that the presidential election has been postponed to 2048. Fear Cameroon. Well, I don't think postponement comes like that. Or Mr. Sinju, do you think it comes like that? Somebody is saying that the high instruction will come that the president has issued a decree that the presidential election has been postponed to 2048. Fear Cameroon.
No, we cannot have high instruction again because the bill is already in parliament to.
No, maybe we can correct the notion that
He is talking about presidential
elections. It goes through a bill. A bill is submitted to parliament and parliament adopts it.
No, but I don't think, first of all, it's favoring them, so there's no way that they will postpone the presidential election.
Why should they postpone presidential where they have already tabled it?
But is there a situation where, like what I'm trying to pick from here, is there a situation where a presidential decree could just write for the postponement? I don't think it goes. It must go through.
No, it must go through the parliament.
Yeah, it must go
Anything
through the
about
parliament.
within the election must pass through the parliament.
Parliament, of course.
He proposed.
And you think it will be rejected?
And that is why we have the Constitutional Council, because whatever the president is doing within the ambit of the law and the Constitution, so he has to go through the parliament. And remember that most of these laws are emanates from the parliament, from the lawmakers. So those who made those laws, they think need to go back to the need to scrutinize it, and that's why you see the parliament is there to check over certain the action of the president to ensure that it's within the constitution of the law. So I don't think the president can decide on his own to say no, I will postpone. If not, the president would have just given high instruction, like we know, to say okay, we have given high instruction for the election to move from municipal and regional or council to move from this year to this year. So the president is one person in the world of Atanga Jeda who knows the country than any other person and knows the laws of the state. So I think conclusively, I just want to equally encourage Cameroonians that they should go out and pick up their voters' card, no matter the situation that we are. I believe in a political miracle what can happen. we Cameroonians have the much or the change I've been yearning for. So we shouldn't sit and complain this and that. I understand the opposition are angry, but again, there is a way out for the opposition, which I cited out there, and the way out is coalition. For them, there is a way out. You can get to power through coalition. So they should keep aside, political interests, keep aside individual interests, and look at the general interest of Cameroonians, which they are crying. If they know that they really want to bring about a change, despite the fact that a bill has been tabled to shift the council, the parliamentary election, they have another way, to go. Because for the fact you standing as an individual candidate, I see that it has never happened and it will be difficult to take place.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pope, in one word, what do you have to say?
Well, yes, you see, change is something we work for. There is nothing like political miracle. We have to work for. Rally, take yourself to the LECAM office, register. I listened to Mr. Mohammed saying we have never gone above 6 million. Let's surprise ourselves this time. Let's have more than twice, 3 times that amount, and let us stage a new political scene in the life of Cameroon. I bet you all will be there. We'll be there. It's our country. You can't abandon it. You can't run away from it. We have to stay here and fix the country, if not for ourselves, but for our children. Just to remind you, only the voters' cards and the ballot box are our weapon. Thank you.
Thank you. All of the voters' cards are our weapon. Even though talking about giving hope, Mr. Pope Bertrand, you said it in a very feeble voice. One was really going to expect that as a political analyst who has actually given very rich contributions on the set this evening, you'd say it with a lot of energy, but it feels like you don't even have the hope that you're trying to induce in young Cameroonians. However the case may be, thank you, gentlemen, for answering present on my set tonight. And there were lots and lots of contributions. Congratulating Mr. Sinju Armstrong, Mr. Pope Bertrand. You were fondly described by the viewers as a black guy in white. His name is Mr. Pope Bertrand and Mr. Musa. Lots of people to sent a shout out, including Mr. Banila Nicholas. And we want to thank you, dear people, for watching the program, and always know that matters always resurfaces on your screens every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, every weekdays, with the exception being Wednesday. Until see you next time, be in the company of other programs that are going to be animating your TV screens. And do not forget, up next is High Prime with Larry Etengene. Good night.